What's up everybody, this is Corey at Operation Overhaul. I just want to say thank you for watching my videos, and if you would, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Well, today I want to do something a little bit different, and what I'm going to be doing is going over some kind of like common knowledge things that I think people should know about a car that probably don't know. Because recently I just had a truck come in. It was a Chevy 350. The kid was only 16 years old, and the truck started to overheat, and rather than pull over and wait for the truck to cool down and kind of try to make it to a store that way, what he did was he kept driving it about another 15-20 minutes and ended up overheating it to the point that it blew a head gasket and actually ruined the engine. He took it somewhere and they told him that he needed a new engine, and he didn't have the money at the time, so he got in contact with me and I ended up doing an engine swap on it for him. But he never knew about the pullover part, and he was never told what to do in this type of situation. And I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, this is just common sense stuff that everybody should know, but some people just don't know this type of stuff. And I just think it's something that everybody should be kind of told how to do, what to do in certain situations. And this is just something that I wanted to share with everybody today, and something that I wanted to just go over, like common stuff that can go wrong with cars. So the first thing I want to go over is what to do when your car starts overheating. When it starts to overheat, just pull your car over to the side of the road, no matter where you're at. Just do not keep driving it. So pull over to the side of the road, cut it off, and let it cool down until it's below the halfway mark. Whenever it's below the halfway mark on your gauge, you can crank it back up and drive it a little bit further until it starts to get warmer again. Then do the same thing over until you get into a safe area, to a point where you can call someone who knows a little bit more about cars if you don't know anything about them, and you can have them look at it. But one thing you do not want to do is, while the car is hot like that, do not open the radiator cap. Because if you do this, you're going to throw extremely hot coolant and water all over you, and you can get second and third degree burns, which will not help anything. And then if you get it all over the engine and get it on the belts, it's not good for the belts, because the coolant can make the rubber on the belts looser and cause belt squeals, the belts to break, and just stuff like that. So it's going to cause more damage if you try to do this as well. And that's pretty much what I think everyone should know about a car overheating. The next thing I want to talk about is if your battery light comes on. This means that your battery is not charging and you're running directly off of your battery, which is not good, because it can drain your battery and actually kill the battery no matter how new it is. And if you just continuously drive it like that and you keep draining it and draining it, you can get to the point where it's going to kill the battery completely, and it's going to be no good no more, especially if it's an older battery. And most people are going to tell you, oh, it's the alternator, it's the alternator, it's the alternator. And it's not always going to be the alternator. It could be a battery cable, could be loose, it could be corrosion on the cable, it could be a fuse, it could be a bunch of different stuff. But if you see the battery light come on, try to pull over as soon as you can and call someone to come and check it, or get it towed to somewhere that you know or that you trust, because this right here can cause more damage than you think it will. You think, oh, it's just a battery light, it could, all it's going to do is just kill the battery. No, it could actually hurt a few other things, especially if it's like a loose ground, because it's going to try to ground out through anything it can. I've seen it ground out, your battery ground out through ball joints, through like tie rods, through all kind of spots. And actually I've had them like seize up ball joints, seize up tie rods and stuff like that, because it's arcing off inside of the joint and causing it to like weld together. So the third thing I want to talk about goes hand in hand with the battery light. So if you ever see the battery light come on, and if you have a little bit older car that actually has a power steering pump and not electronically controlled power steering, you can have like hard steering and it starts to overheat. Typically this means that you have broken a belt, or your belt has come off, and you may even feel like your AC is getting warmer if it's during the summertime and you're using your AC. If this happens, pull over, because you can kill the battery, you can overheat the car, you can I mean, there's just multiple possibilities that can happen. I mean, it won't like tear up your power steering at first, but if you keep trying to do it with the power steering off, you can eventually ruin some stuff on that as well. But typically, if you see all this happening at once, it normally means that you have a belt that's coming off, and at that point you just need to pull over because you're going to cause major damage going down the road. Alright, so the fourth thing I want to talk about is your check engine light. If you're driving down the road and your check engine light comes on and it just stays on, try to get to a parts store or something like that, because they typically will check your check engine light for free and they will not charge you anything, and they can even give you a printout of what it could be. And once they do that, they'll probably give you some general ideas about what it could be or anything like that, but what you need to do is contact somebody who knows stuff about cars and understands the codes on cars and all this stuff, and then you can go through the diagnostic process and they can notify you what it is. But typically, if it just comes on and stays on, you can drive it and get somewhere, and you shouldn't do any major damage at that point as long as you get it fixed as soon as possible. Now, if the light comes on and it starts flashing, typically that's a more serious code, like a misfire or a hard like emissions code or something like that. And this right here can cause engine damage, because normally when it starts flashing, most of the time that's from a misfire on your engine, which basically means that one cylinder isn't burning all the fuel the way it's supposed to. And this right here can burn up pistons, burn up valves. It can cause multiple problems going down the road. And this right here, you want to get it fixed as soon as possible. And especially if you feel it start jumping or anything like that while the light is flashing, that typically means that there's probably a misfire that's happening at this point. And like I said, that can cause piston issues, that can cause burnt valves, which isn't good. I mean, it can cause a bunch of other things. It isn't good for your car. And just try to get it fixed as soon as possible. Another thing I think people should know how to do is how to check their oil and check their coolant before they start the car, because if you don't have enough oil and coolant in your car, you're going to overheat it, and it can actually cause knocking in the car. If there's not enough oil, it can cause the engines to lock up and stuff like this. Now, some cars do not have dipsticks anymore, and these cars right here, you actually have to go through like the program settings and go into the dash and all like the dash parameters and stuff to actually check the oil. And this is very common on like European cars, BMWs, Mercedes, Volkswagens, Audis. They typically do this type of thing. And checking coolant, it can be an easy task, but sometimes, you know, there's multiple spots that you can put coolant in on these cars, like the overflow tanks and the radiator themselves. And I can't go over where every one of these are in this video, just because every car is different and every make is different, and you have to do it a different way. But if you own a car and you want to know where to put these fluids in at, get someone who knows a lot about your car, or get someone who just knows about general service in a car, and get them to show you, like, this right here is where you put your coolant in, this is where you put your oil in, this is your brake fluid. If you have a manual, this is where your clutch fluid is, this is your power steering fluid. You know, just basic little things like that, just so you know what to do. Because if a car ever starts ticking while you're going down the road, I mean, typically if it's in the engine, you may want to check the oil first, just to make sure that there's enough in there. And every car uses a different amount. I mean, you could have one that uses 4 quarts, 5 quarts, 6, 11, 12 quarts. I mean, especially if it's a diesel. But like I said, if you're interested in this, just get someone that you know and trust to show you all these things on your car, and even how to check air pressure in your tires. I mean, this is just all general knowledge I believe everyone should know something about, because you just need to know how to take care of your car, because sometimes you're not around someone who can check this stuff for you. So the last thing I want to go over is smoke and color of smoke and smells on cars. So if you're inside your car and you smell something that's kind of sweet, kind of like syrupy smell, that's typically coolant burning. You will either see water in your floorboard, typically driver or passenger side. It could be either one. And if you smell that, typically that means that either your heater hose is leaking into the car or your heater core is starting to leak. And this right here can rust out your floors, and it can start getting coolant into the carpet and stuff like that, and sometimes that can be hard to get that smell out of your car. Also, if you go around back and it's burning coolant, you will typically see white smoke coming out of your exhaust, and it, like I said, it will be that sweet smell again. Or they make a kit that you can put on your radiator and pump air from the coolant into this little valve, and what it does, it'll turn the coolant a different, the little fluid that you put in there a different color, and that lets you know that you have blown a head gasket. And these work really well, and I've always had good luck. I've never had one of those not be what it said it was. Like if I see that, it's typically a head gasket. Another thing with smoke color is if you see like blue smoke coming out of your exhaust, or black smoke, that's typically you're burning oil. And if you see smoke coming out like when you stop the car and take off, typically you're burning like oil from your valve seals, because it'll just burn it initially because you're at a lower idle speeds, and it's just letting it go into your cylinders a little bit more, and then when you pull off it burns it real quick, and then it doesn't do it again until you come to a stop or you cut the car off. Now if you just had your car worked on and you see smoke coming out from underneath the hood or under the car, sometimes that can just be the residual oils that's burning off of your exhaust, or it could even be like coatings and stuff that are burning off. And you shouldn't be alarmed. Your mechanic should let you know, like, hey, we did this, and you should see a little bit of smoke for a day or two, but it should go away and you should be fine. But if you get something work on and it prolongs for 3-4 days, then bring it back and have them check it out to be sure that nothing is leaking and that nothing is burning that it shouldn't be. Especially like spark plug wires, if they're real close to your exhaust, they can get burnt and melt, and you'll smell like burning plastic and stuff like that. Like I've even had like exhaust parts come with the stickers on them, and it burns off, and people's going to be like, hey, I smell this smell or that smell, and I climb underneath there, and it's just the sticker is burning off. And I tell them, it's like, it'll probably burn off in a few days, you know, and you should be fine after that. But if it lasts a week, bring it back to me and I'll check it back out for you. But like I said, I just wanted to do this video just to inform people on certain things that, you know, most people think that you should know, but they may not know. And I just believe that it's going to help some people in the future. Like I said, I just wanted to make this video to help people who don't know much about cars or are wanting to learn more about cars on what to do when certain things happen to their cars. Because not everybody knows this, and not everyone was grown up taught how to do stuff on cars. And I do believe that it is an important life lesson that people should know a few things about cars, even if they're never going to work on them, just in case something happens like this. And again, thank you for watching my videos, and if you would, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And until next time, y'all have a good day.